Good afternoon and welcome. Glad you could join me today. So let's get right into our topic, which is home security. So this is Go for Lunch for November 22nd, 2022, 11/22/22. Brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm Roger Harmon, your host, and we are here to make your technology work for you. And of course, the technology we're talking about today is home security. So last week we talked about physical security, making sure your doors and windows are as strong as they can be. And this week in part two, we're going to talk about electronic security. So like anything else, there's factors to consider, and one of the factors when using electronic home security is that they all depend on Wi-Fi. So you may need to increase the range of your Wi-Fi to get coverage for outdoor cameras and doorbells. So factor that into the equation. So we're going to look at security cameras and two main categories: the type that you plug into a AC power supply and the type that are battery operated. And then doorbells, which in some cases can go either way. And then in alarm systems, we're going to talk about do-it-yourself systems where you do the installation. And we're going to talk about monitoring, which can be added to a do-it-yourself alarm system, or usually comes included with a professionally installed alarm system. So let's start with plug-in security cameras. So a highly rated camera is the Eufy Security Solo Indoor Cam C24 2K. For $43. So the 2K indicates the resolution. So it's fairly high resolution 2K. And it looks like this. So it's a small camera. You could put it on a shelf. You could mount it on a wall. And it's pretty unintrusive. It has intelligence that determines whether a human or a pet is present, so it won't give you false readings on other things that might be blowing from the air conditioning or something that the camera is seeing out a window that's moving. It has two-way audio, so you can not only hear what's going on, but you could talk to somebody in the view of the camera. So an example of a plug-in outdoor security camera is the Ring stick-up camera for $70. And it, like many of these cameras, has customizable privacy zones, so you can focus only on what you want. So that's important. As I mentioned, if you have an area where you have movement, for example, if your camera is looking out a window and there's movement out there, you can block off that area and the window won't pick that up. It'll just pick up the movement in the areas that you're concerned about. So it mounts on the wall. Here's the cord that has to go to an AC outlet. But if you don't have any AC outlets handy, you can get a battery operated outdoor security camera. And the highly rated one is the Arlo Pro 4 spotlight camera for $158. You can see the LED spotlight here, and it's mounted on the wall, but you can see there's no cords running out of this one because it has a battery. And so it will connect directly to your Wi-Fi. Some cameras require a hub, so that's another thing to consider. Make sure you know whether the camera requires a hub or not. So this one connects directly to your Wi-Fi. And the battery, according to the manufacturer, should last 6 months. But the reviews that I saw indicated that it's probably more like 2 months, depending on how much motion the camera is sensing. Then we have doorbells. A highly rated doorbell is the Arlo Essential wired video doorbell with high definition video and 180-degree view for $80. Now this 180-degree view is important because it's going to probably pick up packages that are on the ground in front of your door. So that's one thing to consider if you're getting a doorbell to see if you got packages. Make sure the doorbell camera is covering the area where the packages are likely to be left. And then another doorbell example is the Ring doorbell, which has 1080p high definition video. It's $60. There's a range of Ring doorbells. This is probably the least expensive one. And it can be either battery operated or wired with the existing wire for your regular doorbell. And it looks like this. The blue circle here is the push button for the door bell, and the camera is up here. So we move outdoor to floodlight security cameras. So the Eufy security floodlight Cam 2 Pro is interesting in that it has a 360-degree pan, and it can also be tilted up and down. It is 2K resolution and costs $300. So you can see it puts out a lot of light with these 3 different LED panels. Here at the bottom in the dome is the camera itself. So you can remotely control where the camera can see. So $300 sounds like a lot of money, but you could probably put one of these in an area where you might need 2 cameras that didn't have the pan and tilt feature. So you can factor that into your equation. Another popular floodlight camera is the Ring floodlight camera for $250, and it has 2 LEDs up here on the top and the camera, and then this is the sensor for motion down here in this little dome on the bottom. So a couple other companies that I'm personally familiar with are Blink and Canary. I invested in both of these companies when they were on crowdfunding platforms, either Kickstarter or the other one. And so I've had both of these in my house for a long time, and they held up well. Also Wise, I've had, they are the low-cost leader. A Wise camera costs about $30. So if you're looking to save some money, I've got Wise mounted in a undisclosed remote location, and they've been there about 2 years and have been very reliable. So these are some other choices to consider. Let's talk about alarm systems. The Ring alarm for $230 at Costco. And this is the setup, which includes a base station, 1 camera, a keypad, a range extender, motion detector, smoke and carbon monoxide listener. So what that does is it listens for your existing smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarm. So when it sounds a tone, this sensor picks it up and alerts you. And then it has 8 contact sensors for doors and windows. Another Ring alarm system is the Ring Alarm Pro. And as you can see, it doesn't have as many components, but it does have something else, and that's an Eero Wi-Fi router built in. So as I mentioned, all these systems require Wi-Fi. So if you need to upgrade your Wi-Fi and you need a home alarm system, this one will do both. And the Eero is a mesh system, so if the built-in router here in the control box isn't doing the job, you can add another mesh router to extend the range. So that's a real bonus. You've probably heard of SimpliSafe. They do a lot of advertising, and they're very highly rated by many of the reviews that I researched. So they have a deal right now at Costco for a starter system, which includes a base station, a keypad, one motion sensor, a panic button, a key fob, which is real handy, so you can disarm the system before you even enter the house, 4 entry sensors, and a camera. So right now, if you go to SimpliSafe.com or Ring.com, you will find their Black Friday deals. So they have lots of different configurations to choose from. So if this is not enough for your house, then you can look at more fully featured systems that have more, mainly more sensors for your windows. Now this is a unique offering from Abode. It's $200, and as you can tell, it doesn't have as many components as these other systems, but what it does have is compatibility with Amazon Voice Assistant, Apple HomeKit, the Google Voice Assistant, IFTTT, Z-Wave, and Zigbee. So these last two, Z-Wave and Zigbee, are systems used by professional alarm systems for their wireless sensors. So if you have an alarm system that was installed by a professional company, or maybe your cable company, and you're no longer paying the monitoring for that, you could integrate these sensors into this Abode control center. And so that's the advantage of this system. So let's talk about alarm systems that are professionally installed. One of the most well-reviewed companies is Vivint. You probably heard of ADT. There's also professional installation available for SimpliSafe, Abode that we just talked about, and then FrontPoint, Adler, Scout, and Blue by ADT are some other top-rated professionally installed alarm systems. So one thing to be aware of with a professional system is, and especially ADT is famous for this, is long-term contracts. If you go on the internet and search on ADT contracts, you'll see a lot of people talking about that. So their contracts, I think, are typically 3 years as much as 5 years. So you may not want to get roped into a contract. Technology changes, so you may want to have a little more flexibility. And some of these other companies are on a month-to-month basis. So something to consider. So, excuse me, in any of these companies, you want to look at what your needs are and select a company that has the sensors that meet your needs. And of course, you don't want to mix and match. You want to stick with one company, whether it be Ring or SimpliSafe or whatever. And that way your life will be uncomplicated. You always want to make sure an alarm system includes an audible alarm. Most of these do, but some of them don't, because if a burglar comes in, he trips the alarm, the audible alarm sounds, that is usually going to scare him away, especially if you don't have professional monitoring. An audible alarm is essential. And make sure you have at least one motion sensor in case the burglar comes in through a window that you don't have armed with a sensor. Of course, an indoor camera is a sensor, so that is also acts as a motion sensor. So let's look and see how these work. They all work with smartphones. So here we have our iPhone, and the third row down in the first column, you can see there's a folder for security. Now I have some smart cams in a remote location, which I've had probably longer than anything else, and those have been good. They're made by Samsung, and I haven't seen them being reviewed in the research I did for today. Nobody was covering the Samsung cameras. August is a door lock. I have a door lock on my door between the garage and the house that automatically unlocks when I arrive home and automatically locks when I leave. Wise, I have two Wise cameras in a remote location. They are the low-cost leader, as I mentioned, and they've been there about 2 years, and they've been reliable. So let's look at Blink. So here are my Blink cameras. I've got one in the garage. So a garage camera is a good idea, because how many times have you left your house and you get 5 miles away and you think, oh, did I close the garage door? So with a camera in your garage, you can check that without having to hang a UE and go back to your house. Then the master bedroom is an important place to monitor because you have so many different valuables in that room. So this will catch a person going into your master bedroom. And then I have one in the backyard which covers my back door. So if somebody hops over my wall and tries to break in the back door, I get an alert before they can get inside the house. So let's look at our Ring doorbell. So I'm going to go down back here and show you, most of these are me, but back here we have, you saw an Amazon truck, and here we go. So you see there's the delivery guy. I think this actually was a FedEx guy delivering my package. So, and here's what it looks like at night. And there you see a package sitting on my bench, which they're supposed to put packages inside, but this box was too big. So that's how the Ring camera works. And then I have two Canary cameras. I have to kind of play with this app. So the weird picture here on the front door is my hand, because I'm charging that camera right now. So right now you can see the battery level is at 63% here on the where it says battery level there in the second section. And the Wi-Fi signal is medium because it's further away from my Wi-Fi, but it still works. And then up here under living room, watch live, the Canary has a somewhat unique feature in that it shows you the temperature, the humidity, and the air quality. So I don't know of any other camera that does that. You can get separate sensors that do that, but not built into a camera. So we can watch the living room live here, and there it is. So I can see my kitchen. This is the camera is actually on top of my refrigerator, so it shows me the kitchen and the living room. So last week we talked about the 4 factors that we want to have in our home security system. One is to deter, and most of these companies will sell you a sign to put in your front yard showing that you do have an alarm system, and also window stickers, so you should probably use those. And of course that's going to delay a criminal from approaching your house when they see that you've taken these precautions. And if that doesn't work, then Your cameras and your sensors will detect them when they're either walking around your house, if you have outdoor cameras, or when they try to break in. And of course, all these things combined will deny the criminal access to your house. They'll go look for an easier target. So, if you haven't already, please type your questions in the comments section on your screen. Don't forget to share the GoFor Gazette with the people that you know that use Apple devices. And the GoFor Gazette comes to you every Monday morning about 7 o'clock. If you're not receiving that, please let me know and we'll add you to the mailing list. So again, a reminder that we do have Black Friday happening. Actually, it's more like Black November. And we will have Cyber Monday. And all of these devices are probably going to be on sale. So this is a great time of the year to upgrade your security at your home with your electronic devices. And if you need help with that, I install these things, and I'll also help you if you have any questions. You can email me or call me, and I'd be glad to answer those questions. And have a wonderful get all choked up just thinking about having a wonderful Thanksgiving. So I hope you have a great Thanksgiving time. So let's see what we have here. So Susan says, what do pan and tilt mean? So does it mean the camera moves constantly, or do you set it once and it remains where you put it? Okay, so what it means is so pan is movement from side to side, tilt is movement up and down. So the camera that I mentioned can actually rotate 360 degrees. My arm can't do that, but the camera can. So you could put it on the corner of your house and you can see back on both directions. And the tilt, well, then you could look down at the ground or you could look up in the trees. And so it remains in one position until you move it. So you could move it remotely, and look around your yard, and then wherever you stop, it stays there until you move it again. And Susan also adds that one advantage of an alarm system is that you know no one is in your house when you return if the system is still armed. That's a good point. A nice peace of mind factor. And Susan got into the habit of waiting to ensure that my garage door is fully closed before leaving. That's actually the best way to do it. That's what I try to do. I look in my rear view mirror. As I'm driving down the street, I can see my garage door and close it. But sometimes we get in a hurry, we get distracted, and we don't do that. So that's when a camera in your garage will be handy. So if there's no more questions, thank you for joining us today. And again, if you have any questions about alarm systems or home security, you can call me or email me on the number and the email address that's coming up on your screen right now. Have a great rest of your day.